Today we are asking the question, what if Elmo were in the Getherverse? Now, we chose Elmo for a couple of reasons. One, it's his birthday. And two, he is an awesome fit for our first class feature. Now, in the Getherverse play system, you choose two of the statistics of the fists and minds. And our first class, alphabetically, that we're focusing on is an Acrobat. Now, an Acrobat has the two stats increased for flexibility and influence. Now, flexibility being that Elmo is a Muppet, there is as flexible as cloth can be. So I would say extreme flexibility for the Muppets. And then influence, which is a charismatic stat that also kind of speaks to his celebrity. So it's a great fit to have those two stats be the ones that I think fit Elmo for choosing in the Fists and Minds class. And the other feat that class receives is called Dangerous Crossing. And essentially what this means is that this character can travel along any width of path as long as the path can hold their weight. So with puppeteering and wires and how they animate the Muppets, I figured that pretty much they would be able to travel any width of a path without too much trouble. So again, that Acrobat class, a really good fit. Elmo plus flexibility plus influence, and that has been what if Elmo is in the Getherverse. Second, alphabetically, that we're going through them is the Archive Mage. And since it's also Super Bowl Sunday, we're going to make an Archive Mage out of our two mascots. So we're going to have Chief Eagle is going to be our Archive Mage. Archive Mage uses magic and neuronics, and since Chief Eagle is a new character that we're just creating today, we won't have any ties to why the character would or wouldn't make a good version of this class. But essentially, so the magic is going to be using spells, and learning spells is easier. For the Archive Mage, their class ability is the magic specialty, and so accordingly the difficulty to learn or write the spells of that chosen keyword is reduced. It is a one and done choice, so if you choose the fire keyword or the necromancy keyword, the nature magic, once that choice is made, it can't be changed. Today we're checking out the Artisan class. And this, we're going to choose Captain America because this is corresponding with the Captain America release date. So we've got the Artisan in the Fists and Minds system, uses influence and skill. And I think this goes really well with Captain America. You've got influence, obviously, interacting with seats of power and the president, and talking your way out of tough situations, so that fits there. And then on the skill side, even more important than the first Captain America is the Falcon turned Captain America. Since he doesn't have the superhero serum, he relies much more on the skill aspect of it. Artisan's ability is called A Beautiful Memory. And in this ability, items crafted by the character sell for twice the gold as normal. So essentially, when they craft items, they can be worth more. And there's all kinds of items and iconography and valuation. And I don't want to give any spoilers for the movie, but there are, rare minerals and metals and things at play. For the Aura Clergy, they're going to be using divinity and strategy, and so divinity being their connection to the deities and Hall of Fire and demonic forces and the gods, all those, is the connection to the divinity for that magic. And then strategy being kind of how they manipulate the map in a battle and those kinds of things. The special ability of an Aura Clergy character is going to be called Share the Magic. And this is any beneficial spells cast with this character as the single target also benefit allies standing within 1 square of the targeted Aura Clergy character. So essentially that means if they get a boost or a boon or a healing spell that applies to them, they can also apply it to the allies around. So this is a little bit of a jump for, we obviously have characters that create auras already in the Getherverse. In Prevliva, that kind of comes out in the predictive abilities of fortune telling, so that also that would fall into the strategy of kind of knowing who's going to be standing where and be able to benefit them that way. We are looking at our next class in the Fists and Minds system, and it's the Barbarian class. And today is Polar Bear Day, if you didn't already know that. So we are going to go with Yorick Bernison in moving him into the Getherverse. So this is a Barbarian Polar Bear from the Golden Compass movie. And so the Barbarian class in the Getherverse is going to be using Impact and Toughness, which goes great with a Polar Bear. Impact being the strength of a hit or how much damage, and Toughness being essentially how well they can take a hit, how many hit points, etc. So both good for a Barbarian and good for a Polar Bear, and a really good match here is the special ability, which for the Fists and Minds system, the special ability of a Barbarian is called Roaring Insult, and it's can use an action to force an enemy within range to attack the Roaring Barbarian on its turn if possible. So this is a little bit like a lure, space luring action, a little bit like an Angry Bard from other systems kind of a deal, but also allows you to just sort of take the heat off of your allies. So a really good match for our character and our class. Today we are looking at the Battering Ram, and it is not quite horoscopically time for Capricorn, but it will be in a couple of weeks. And so Capricorn is of course the Ram, Battering Ram, and the Ram is Aries. So we are doing Capricorn Aries as our Battering Ram class. And for the Battering Ram, you get your bonuses in Impact and Speed, which I think Impact is like your damage, so that is a pretty good fit for the God of War. And then Speed, you've got the Ram itself, and those work pretty good with the Capricorn Aries. The special ability for the Battering Ram class is Charging Push. After a successfully attacking creature of the same size or smaller with a non-ranged weapon or open hand, the Battering Ram can move the attacked creature back a square in the direction opposite the attack. And I kind of picture the like the phalanx shields and that kind of stuff, pushing and charging, and so I think that's a pretty good fit for our Battering Ram. But Impact and Speed is where your bonuses are, and hopefully you'll get to try that out with the Fists and Minds game system. Today we are looking at the Blast mechanic, and it is also debunking day. So we figured for our Blast mechanic today, we would use our favorite Mythbusters as examples of characters you could make as Blast mechanics. So the features of a Blast mechanic, their two traits are they have skill and toughness. So for all the setup and execution and all the filming and everything, the skill is pretty relevant in our Mythbusters. And the toughness here in the blast mechanic, being willing to blow something up or break something or crash through something, that toughness would be required. And in the case of the blast mechanic, their special ability is they can take 15 damage and create a hole in non-magical walls. The ability is called Improvised Window and seems to fit our blast mechanic pretty well. Hey Internet, this is Gunter with MiniMishaps Games. We are back with another Fists and Minds class. Today we are looking at the Bullseye Arm, and in honor of St. Patrick's Day, we are going to have this character be built from a leprechaun. So the Bullseye Arm's traits are Impact and Skill. So the Impact here would make our leprechaun muscular for the amount of damage that they could dish out. And then the accuracy is where the skill comes in. And so the Bullseye Arm here, the Bullseye Arm is accurate and powerful. And so their special ability is called Fling Shot, which is can use picked up thrown items to deal damage as a ranged weapon. So in the case of our muscular leprechaun, we picture him throwing barrels and pots of gold and other St. Patrick's-y things with good accuracy. Hey Internet, it's Gunter with MiniMishaps Games, and today we have got another Fists and Minds class for you, and it is also Ravenclaw Pride Day, which means our character that we're going to choose is going to be from the Harry Potter universe. The next class is the Carnival Caster, and because of our Ravenclaw theme, we are going to have that be Luna Lovegood as our character for our Carnival Caster. Now, the attributes of the Carnival Caster is flexibility and magic. Magic here being fairly obvious for any wizard, but whereas the flexibility here would be the ability to cast in difficult situations. So that's also true of most of the Harry Potter cast, but fits in well with the theme. The special ability of a Carnival Caster is a Big Top Barking, which the ability says can choose to use influence level when casting spells for meeting their difficulty. Now, this is a little convoluted, but essentially each spell in the Fists and Minds system has a difficulty, and usually it is the magic skill that affects if a person can learn and use a spell. But in this case, they can use their influence per the carnival background, if you will, to cast those spells instead. Hey Internet, this is Gunter with MiniMishaps Games. We have got another Fists and Minds class for you. Today we are looking at the Charmer, and today is Mermaid Day, so we're going to have a mermaid happen in the Fists and Minds system. The Charmer's main attributes are Influence and Magic, which already fit very well with the idea of a siren or siren song being magical and influencing the mind. And so those fit really well with a mermaid. We have the special ability Take My Side, which says when this character is dealt damage, there is a 10% chance that the attacker will use its next action to make an attack against one of this character's enemies. So essentially meaning if you attack the mermaid here, in the case of a mermaid, there was a 1 in 10 chance that your next attack would go against one of the mermaid's enemies. So that also fits right in with the siren song idea for a mermaid. And we are back for a very exciting class of video for our Fists and Minds system. Today it is the Counterfeiter class, and it is also the release of the Minecraft movie. So we are going to put Steve in the GETHERVERSE as a Counterfeiter. Now, the abilities here, the attributes are skill and speed, and essentially the Minecraft idea of when you craft, it's instantaneous. That's where we'll have our speed coming from. You load up that recipe and the thing simply appears. And then the skill here being knowing the recipes and how they all interact with each other. Minecraft has a complex system of how the blocks can interact, and that's demonstrated in the movie as well, that a kind of diverse amount of skill is needed to navigate that world. The specifically Counterfeiter special ability is called Produce Documents, and it says, has the ability to forge documents as long as the counterfeiter has seen what the originals look like. These forgeries are detected as per the same awareness that would see or miss a sneak action. So essentially, the short story long is that if you've seen the original, in the case of Minecraft, that is like seeing the recipe, and as far as the counterfeiting goes, this is a little bit of a stretch, but is kind of like how the movie navigates multiple worlds with the actions and things that were created. So don't want to do any spoilers for the movie, obviously, but we thought Minecraft Steve would be a good fit for the counterfeiter. So today we're looking at the Deep Root, which is a bit of a monastic class. We're going to use that Daredevil character for our Deep Root today, because the two attributes of the Deep Root are Divinity and Toughness, and Matt Murdock in this case being in and out of having a relationship with the church, being that connection to divinity, and then Toughness. Obviously, there are very few superheroes that take a beating like Daredevil does, and so that Toughness being high makes sense. The special ability of a Deep Root is called Immovable Chi, and it says this character cannot be moved against its will without moving the ground underneath. And so this has kind of nods to his Daredevil's interactions with the Hand and the Defenders, the kind of relationship with Chi there. It's a little less Chi based in the Daredevil character, but the outcome of not being movable is the same here. Today is Mushroom Day, and our class is the Diplomat. So our most diplomatic mushroom we could think of is Toad from the Mario universe. The two characteristics of a diplomat in the Fists and Minds system being influence and strategy. In the case of influence, Toad has a bit of celebrity, as well as in the movie, all the times they refer to how adorable the toads are in the Mushroom Kingdom. As far as strategy goes, same thing here. He seems to take advantage of the environment that's around him, as well as being a prominent feature in games like Mario Party and the Mario Kart, those kinds of things. The special ability of a Diplomat is Welcomed by Strangers, and this says can enter hostile environments at one difficulty higher than a non-diplomat character. So we saw in the recent Mario movie that Toad has no problem at all, just kind of strolling into an environment and engaging with new people that he's just meeting. And so that fits in right well with the Diplomat as well. Today we're looking at the Duelist, and in honor of Earth Day, we decided that our Duelist should be Captain Planet. So, Duelist has impact and strategy. As far as Captain Planet goes, he is essentially a strategy. So, he is what's the summoned to match whichever danger is de jour there. So the strategy being he always has to kind of solve the bad guy of the week. And then impact, he does have a raised level of strength compared to regular mortals in that show. The Duelist's special ability is called On Guard, and it reads, if this character or an ally uses no enemy weakness, The Duelist rolls attacks as if the enemy difficulty was reduced twice. So I think this fits the Captain Planet because really most of the time the audience as well as the team Captain Planet know the enemy weakness, which is almost always some sort of environmental disaster that takes cleaning up or some elbow grease or different things like that. And so the knowing enemy weakness, like any of those team up, power up shows, you've got that they have to assess the enemy and then they have to strategize how they're going to defeat that enemy. So a throwback on the character this time from way back, but a great one for Earth Day and a pretty good fit for Duelist. It is National Superhero Day and we are looking at the Eidediker. So for those of you that may not know the term, an Eidediker is a person that has a photographic memory. So in game, that person benefits from neuronics and speed, so their learning and studying capability as well as their actual speed. And we decided that for Eidediker and the National Superhero Day that we would go with Taskmaster as the Eidediker de jour. I used that term last time, but anyway, of the day, our character for today is Taskmaster. Because neuronics and speed, definitely to have a photographic memory. The kinetic muscular copying memory of Taskmaster may be a little bit different than the term Eidediker, but the fact that it is intelligence and assessment with reflex speed results is a good match, definitely, for that character, Taskmaster. The Eidediker's ability reads Good with Faces. The character reduces the difficulty of seeing through illusions or false forms by 1 level of difficulty. When it comes to Taskmaster, obviously, if someone was pretending to be another person that the Taskmaster was familiar with, they would have no trouble at all knowing from simple mannerisms and body movements that it was a false or an illusion form of that person. And so I think that matching styles, the fighting styles, could be a comparable way here to do that Good with Faces ability. Hey Internet, May the 4th be with you. It is Star Wars Day. We are back with another one of our Fists and Minds classes. Today we are looking at the Elemental Brawler, and in honor of Star Wars Day, we are going to be applying Ahsoka Tano as our character for the Elemental Brawler. So the Elemental Brawler gets magic and toughness. Now obviously as a force user, that Ahsoka Tano character has that magic, and then the toughness for battle capability and damage inducing ability are good for that as well. And then the kind of journey of the gray-white lightsabers is deeper than we need to go for this video, but is a good for the elemental side. Also all the different trials, all the different elements that happened in all of that. The ability for the Elemental Brawler is called Against the Elements, and it reads as the following. This character can choose to increase their own difficulty against one magic keyword for the duration of the battle. This ability cannot be used again until the character takes a full rest. So, a lot there, but what that more or less boils down to is once per day, they can gain resistance against a magic keyword. Now, a reminder, those magic keywords can be the elemental ones, which is kind of how the description intends here. That's your fire, ice, lightning, all those. But also magical keywords can be things like force, which would be a good one in this case as a force user. It could also be the light and darkness and things that are not always considered within those elemental damage types, but they do count as a magic keyword. Today, we are checking out the Endurant Monk, and we are going to apply one of my favorite Endurant Monks. We're going to be applying the character Kwai Chang Caine from the old Kung Fu series. If you haven't partaken, I highly recommend it. It's a kind of a Western from the 80s, maybe before. But it is about a monk that travels to the United States and lives in the Wild West and has adventures in the Wild West with the with the cowboys and bandits and everything in the Wild West. But Endurant Monk, the abilities are flexibility and toughness, and those are both really kind of the staple of most martial arts characters that we would pick across the genres. But flexibility, this is, you're going to be dodging the arrows in the case of Kwai Chang Caine, and then toughness is your hit points and also your ability to endure as the Endurant Monk. And I went with Kwai Chang Caine on this one because there is so many examples where he is controlling his own body temperature, and he's, making it through these strenuous activities on his muscles and form, and making it through to the other side. As far as the ability, it's called Open Hand Fluidity, and it reads, if this character is unarmed, there's a 10% chance that they will disarm and steal a non-ranged weapon from a character after they succeeded an attack against the Endurant Monk. So just all throughout the series, Kwai Chang Caine is taking away knives and hatchets and bows and firearms and all manner of weapon. We are looking at the Enigmatologist, the person who loves or is really good at puzzles and solving riddles. And of course, we have to go to one of my favorite fictional characters, Sherlock Holmes, for our Enigmatologist class. So the Enigmatologist has got a speed and strategy, and as far as the Sherlock Holmes goes, his mysteries are almost always time sensitive, down to the wire. The last, especially when they're portrayed in movies and media, that is extra prevalent. And then strategy, of course, the attention to detail and the setting up traps for the villainous activities or minds. Those are definitely speed and strategy are great for Sherlock Holmes in this case. The ability of an Enigmatologist is called 3 Steps Ahead, and it reads as follows. This character can move ahead 3 places in the order. This ability cannot be used again until a full rest. So they get things figured out in their brain, and they strategize, and they place all of the pieces on the chessboard before other people get a chance, and so they do move ahead in the order of taking actions in. This could be within a battle, but also within a given social scenario, those kinds of things where you're rolling checks. The Enigmatologist here would be relying on that speed to apply that strategy and get to go before the others. So a great match for Sherlock Holmes. Today we are looking at the Escape Artist, and actually we had kind of a calendar miss last time because this time today is Sherlock Holmes Day, and 6 days ago we just had Sherlock Holmes as our Enigmatologist. That's more information than you needed to know, but let's get on to our Escape Artist. So we have a movie that is coming out tomorrow. It is the next and supposedly last Mission Impossible is coming out tomorrow after this video comes out, and we thought that Ethan Hunt would be a great Escape Artist to match up with our Escape Artist class. The Escape Artist has flexibility and strategy, and that is all over in the Mission Impossible movies. So flexibility, feats of acrobatics, all that stuff is on the ceiling wires, and dodging the lasers and dodging the bullets and dodging the trains and what have you throughout the movies. Flexibility is hugely important for the characters in that franchise. And then strategy, same thing. You've got world level danger events that only are seemingly impossible, and so that's definitely going to require the strategy of the team and of the character for the escape artist. So, and there's plenty of times where the Ethan Hunt character is actually captured or bound or having to talk his way out or learn things that way. And so the escape artist there being applicable. The ability of the escape artist is called Tight Situations, and it reads, this character is treated as one size smaller. That is not a dig at the actor. With regards to how they can move through space. This does not affect their size with regards to being carried or using their other physical traits. So essentially that means if this character is medium size, like a normal human or a normal elf, they would be able to move through the space that a gnome or a hellpard could. So that has more to do with the vocation than the actual actor not being gnome sized. But either way, that Tight Situation's a great match for the Ethan Hunt character. Today we are looking at the Field Manipulator class, and it is World Otter Day, so we couldn't think of anyone better than our resident Otter Abjuration instructor. We've got Bravery Boulder Dash is our Field Manipulator person, and Bravery Boulder Dash is, like I said, the Abjuration Arts instructor at the Academy in the Getherverse. So already casting those protective spells and force fields and those kinds of things. The Field Manipulator stats is Neuronics and Strategy. Neuronics being the intelligence, being an instructor at the Academy, all that academia fits into the Neuronics very well. And then also Strategy. And before Bravery Boulder Dash was an instructor for the Academy, she was actually a secret agent with the Atmo Convo secret society in Atlica, and so Strategy is right up that alley. So those two work really well for Bravery. Next, the ability for a Field Manipulator class is called Stretchy Space, and it reads, ranged weapon attacks and single target spells against this character must start from one square closer than the normal range on the weapon or spell. So essentially, to get a drop on someone who is an Abjuration instructor, and in this case Field Manipulator, those weapons and spells have to be closer than they can normally reach. And today we are talking about the Gladiator class. Now, the character we have chosen to represent the Gladiator class is the Hercules character. Now, I know that it is not the necessarily historically most accurate version of Hercules, but we are going to be using the Disney animated Hercules because of how it fits with the class itself. It's also Love Conquers All Day, and they kind of made prominent in that Disney movie the relationship between Hercules and Meg. So, but for the Gladiator gets to enjoy impact and influence. Impact, obviously, being Hercules, super strong. It's going to be adding that damage. And then as far as influence goes, that's going to be the demigod scenario and the fame in the movie, especially. In that Disney movie, he is especially famous. For the ability, the Gladiator's ability is called Nuts and Claws, and it reads, This character does an additional 1d4 damage against creatures in size categories larger than it. This works for normal, heavy, ranged, open hand, and single target spell attacks. So Hercules doesn't have spell attacks necessarily, but the fighting of larger creatures is definitely a thing that happens, especially again in the movie. He fights the Cyclops and he fights the Titans and a lot of larger enemies. So that works for this where he's fighting those larger creatures. So Donald Duck Day. So we are going to try and find how Donald Duck can be a Guerrilla Tactician in the Getherverse. So in the Fists and Minds system, the Guerrilla Tactician has got strategy and toughness. As far as strategy goes, Donald Duck in his cartoons has always got some kind of something he's trying to accomplish. So I would say the strategy here is, all the convoluted schemes and all of the, trying to get retribution for different characters and different experiments and things that he does. So we've got the strategy there. And then toughness. Donald Duck, I have got to say, gets probably more Looney Tunes treatment than most other Disney characters. So he's usually the one that the pot falls on, or the flat tire happens, or different things that cause him to get the goose egg on his duck head there with the stars or the birds or the what have you. So we've got toughness there. The ability of a Guerrilla Tactician is called Preferred Environment, and it reads, choose a natural environment. This character's difficulty to be attacked is increased by 1 level while in this environment. This choice cannot be made again until after a full rest. So the preferred environment here, we are tying it into Donald Duck because it seems like he always has a costume that matches if he's in the desert or in the jungle or in the Arctic. He always has his merchandisable costume or gear on for that environment. So with that is how we are going to match Donald Duck to the Guerrilla Tactician. It is Father's Day, and so I am going to choose a character today for our Inspirational Speaker class that is a favorite Inspirational Speaker of myself and my father. That would be Captain Picard, the character Captain Picard from Star Trek The Next Generation. And I encourage you to search YouTube. There are all kinds of videos about his inspirational speeches and words of wisdom and famous quotes and all that. The Inspirational Speaker class gets Divinity and Influence. Now, Divinity is the connection to higher power or energy, and so this would fall with Picard in a couple of ways. One, you've got the Federation and the Prime Directive being a kind of force of the universe. You also, though, have, when Captain Picard is Locutus of Borg, he's connected to that hive mind, that higher power, and just the sort of nature of his morality and ethics, those kinds, tends to be in the realm of the divinity as well. Secondly, for influence, obviously being an inspirational speaker, influence, Captain Picard definitely has got that leadership card. He is encouraging and also teaching and bettering his staff and his crew, and he holds a lot of sway on different planets and with different groups. In the series, Captain Picard also becomes Worf's Chadich, which is a kind of a spiritual lawyer to the council, and so that is another position where he gives speeches. He has to memorize the phonetically difficult speech that he gives at the end of the episode, The Big Goodbye. The ability of the inspirational speaker is called Rousing Rhetoric, and it reads as follows. Characters within 5 squares of this character are immune to fear as long as they are able to hear this character speak. So definitely inspiring and keeping them from panicking. Picard has episodes where he is in crawl spaces with ensigns or children, and he has to keep them from panicking. He has to overcome the language barrier for the Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra. So definitely, you can tell this is one of my favorite classes. You can tell that I love languages. You can tell that I love Star Trek and Captain Picard. So I invite you to partake in all of those. Today we are talking about the Intimidator class for Fists and Minds. And our character to fit the Intimidator is none other than Batman. So the Intimidator gets influence and toughness. Influence his throughout the Batman lore. The bad guys know him. He's famous, and he's got a lot of ability to intimidate or use fear to do his detective work. And then toughness, just he's able to take a beating, coming back from having his back broken by Bane, and just all kinds of different tortures that he went through to get to the point that he became Batman. The ability for the Intimidator class is called Crack the Knuckles, and it reads, use this ability to reduce one level of difficulty of a gather information roll or any no roll. Cannot use this ability again until a full rest. So essentially what this means is he's doing that detective work and gathering that information and doing the research as the no rolls go. It is the Item Tinker today, and for our character, we have had the 3-episode release of the first 3 episodes of Ironheart, and I thought that Riri Williams would be a perfect match for our Item Tinker class. So the stats for an Item Tinker are magic and skill, and it's obvious the skill is there for all of the building and engineering and mechanics and everything that is happening in the show, but also there's the question with how AI is created seeming magical, and the antagonist having a mystical element as well. And a lot of even though it's using tech, a lot of the effects of what's happening due to the tech would seem to be magical to someone in the Getherverse. So I think those are good matches on that front. As far as our ability, the Item Tinker has the ability, it's called Make or Break, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You can take items and put them together into something new, or you can take something apart and retrieve its components, and this can be done once per long rest. Now, this is where I actually, the Make or Break part, originally this character in this video was going to use Tony Stark's Iron Man as the Item Tinker. But the Make or Break really, now early on, Tony Stark had this as well when he had to survive the cave. It was Make or Break on those early armor sets. But nearly the whole premise of this show is Make or Break for the Riri Williams and Ironheart. So I really think this is a great happy coincidence for us that this released right at the same time that it was time for the Item Tinker to have its place.